Today, we're gonna look at the glitches that changed Fortnite creative forever. Okay, that was quite dramatic. These glitches range from game-changing things we never seen in Fortnite creative, which lead to Epic having to immediately patch them, to things that we can still technically get to this day. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Alright, so before we start in, we have a sponsor for this video, which is Opera GX. Do you ever listen to music while playing Fortnite? Yeah, me too. And in Opera GX, you can do that from the sidebar. All you have to do is just click on the music player, select your favorite music app, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, whatever you want. For example, we all love the Marshmello concert, Ariana Grande. You can do that very simply. Just click on the site, select Marshmello, Ariana Grande. It also automatically pauses when listening to other audio or video. Also a very cool thing, if you're low on V-Bucks like me every time, there's a bunch of free games and news on the GX Corner. So where are we dropping? No, we definitely not dropping Tilted because we always get clapped. We drop into GX Corner. Also, there's basically no other browser which has that many customizable options as Opera GX. You can basically customize to your liking. So for this one, we're gonna make a nice Halloween theme since Fortnite Mares is coming up. We can use a nice purple tone, and this wallpaper I found just perfect. Now we come to the most important part, which is most importantly for me, because you will never miss any notifications from Twitch streams, Discord messages, anything else. You can very simply just log into it. You can click on your favorite Fortnite streamers, creative streamers, and you will never have a problem missing anything ever again. If that made you excited to use Opera GX from now on and forever, make sure to go down below in the description and click the link to download Opera GX for free. Number 1 is the giant white left glitch. This one was introduced with the introduction of the white left device, which was back then our first real NPC device, and everybody was so hyped, but nobody really played around with it too much. Until two creators of the name Kamehameha and Mar have found out a way to make them just a little bit bigger. Back then, that was one of the coolest things that happened to the wildlife spawner, because we didn't have riding back then. There was not really much you can do with the wildlives besides just playing around with them and shooting them. They had not really a lot of options, but making them big was something really unique. However, it had a few flaws. It was not super easy to do. You had to do like this weird combination of boxing around the wildlife spawner and just having a glitch on a terrain piece, which was not really the best thing to do. And there were definitely also a few problems when it comes down to playing against the huge wildlife, because the wildlife, as you might assume, was not meant to be that big, and so the hitbox and basically everything that revolved around it was kind of glitching out all the time. However, it was still a very funny glitch, and I think to this day it was still one of my favorite glitches in Fortnite Creative. Number 2, the main island glitch. This was probably one of the first big glitches in Fortnite and Fortnite Creative in general. This was also a reason why the main island got removed from Fortnite Creative. Yes, back then we actually had the main island back in the background, and you can actually see it from your creative islands, which was actually pretty cool. However, obviously due to this bug and due to glitches, people just flying there, getting all the items from the main island over to creative, it had to be removed. Nowadays, we obviously have the island barriers immediately around the edges of our islands, so there's like no way to just easily going out without glitching out. But still to this day, people can glitch out of these, but obviously not anymore to the main island, which led to some really cool discoveries back then, but today, I think it's kind of useless. Number 3, the Brood Earthquake. That was one of the coolest glitch mechanics that people actually used in their maps, and there was a few popular maps with this mechanic. However, with the removal of Brood, this mechanic or this glitch went away. It was actually a fairly simple glitch, and it actually didn't require too much mechanical skill to do it. All you need was like a few air vents and a Brood, and then basically the whole map was shaking, which was a really cool thing back then. And there's actually nothing that compares to this kind of stuff that we can do today. So there's no real shaking. I think the closest thing that is still in the game to kind of that extent that people used was the first person glitch, which is still in the game to this day. And I think we kind of need something like that in creative. So like maybe a device, an earthquake device, or like the weather device or something like that would be really cool. Number 4 is something that is still good to this day, and that is the unreleased items. Especially the ones which are from collabs, such as the Dragon Ball things, which you can currently find a lot of people glitching in or trying to get into creative, even though they're not supposed to be there. It was super easy back in the early days where you just had to open chests in normal creative. You didn't even have to be in a creative public island, or you didn't even need a code. You don't need to really glitch something in. They were just in the chests. So that was really something unique back then. Nowadays, it's obviously a lot harder because you have to be in a public lobby and it has to be like certain settings and stuff like that. This glitch is just something that Epic sometimes forgets to do to remove the actual items from the creative chest, and so they're still in creative lobbies. This actually is not really a glitch in the first place because you can actually just get the items in normal chests if it's in a chest, obviously. So it's basically an in-game feature which Epic just forgot to remove. So it's not really a big glitch, but obviously people have found other ways to glitch things into a vending machine, and then obviously it becomes a glitch. So will we ever have a day where we never get unreleased items again? I don't think so. Number 5, the prop mover could move all of the devices, or actually most of the devices. Back then when the prop mover first got released, we could actually use the prop mover on devices such as the trigger and even the character device. Nowadays we obviously have a few restrictions, and just recently with the last update they added a few more devices to it, but most of the devices which actually would be useful are still not be able to be moved with the prop mover. This is probably due to the prop mover just being in a beta back then, and then they just removed a bunch of stuff, which I'm not the biggest fan of, removing stuff and taking stuff away from people, but we knew it wasn't a beta, so we cannot be that mad about it. Number 6, the melee device and melee manager. This one is a glitch, an unreleased, and a mystery in itself. First of all, we got the melee manager introduced to the game via an update, or basically we got it as an update, and then we got it as just a device, so we basically only got the sword. Then we found it in a creative map, which was actually promoted by Epic. Then we have never seen it ever again, and people still ask to this day, where is the melee manager? It has been a wild ride with this one, and people found ways to glitch it in and use it basically in some ways and shape or forms, but to this day, I would say that the melee device or melee manager, the two devices that come with this device, are the biggest mystery, and why we do not get them, nobody knows. It has been introduced to the game a couple times, and it has been removed a couple times, so maybe it's just like we will never get it. But let's not hope that is actually the case, but man, what is so hard about just releasing the melee manager? Number 7, Thanos in Fortnite Creative. This was one of the biggest glitches which Epic had to step in immediately to actually fix, because there was a certain creative map, and I'm actually not sure if this is a glitch or a hack, where you could actually play as Thanos in the teeny town from Power, which then led to people having Thanos in creative and just glitching it all over and just being absolute mad with it, building with it, which was definitely not possible before. You cannot build with Thanos, but overall I would say this was probably one of the funniest glitches. Didn't really harm too many people, maybe the creative map, but overall I think it was just a funny thing, and it got patched very fast, so it was not really too much fun to have with this one. But I think having more collabs in Fortnite Creative would be really fun. Just imagine you have a Thanos spawner. And last but not least is my favorite one, which was the underwater driftboard. The underwater driftboard back then was a really cool thing and something super unique, because we didn't really have options to go underwater. And when Epic finally introduced us to a little bit more water, they actually put the island barrier a little bit lower so we can actually use the water to build in it. Cool things like Atlantis in normal island without the water device. Back then this was one of the coolest things. However, they fixed it. You cannot really go with the devices underwater anymore. You can also not build underwater anymore on the normal island. Yes, you could technically now use the water device, but back then we didn't have the water device, and it was something really unique and special. And overall, obviously makes sense that Epic removes these things because it causes instability and stuff. But I think if some of these things would just be added as normal features, like the building underwater, I mean, that's technically now a feature, or just having the brute back. I don't know why he's not back yet, man.